So, what is our history according to the Vedic literature? People used to live on the green and beautiful earth, without war, without envy. They had a very high consciousness and what we call now psychic powers. They were regularly in touch with the residents of the other worlds in our universe. However, parasitic entities from other regions of this universe liked our planet and decided to take it over. Since humans were neither stupid nor weak, they defended their planet vigorously. Even though the parasites fought against us using all kinds of weapons that we cannot even imagine, still for many thousands of years they could not subdue the humans, even though they destroyed the places on Earth where the advanced civilization was located, like Atlantis. Although the full globe was also inhabited by humans who had these developed psychic powers, not all of them were advanced in a way we understand it today in terms of technology. Many of these humans, although they possessed psychic powers, they lived in primitive way, but some did not. Some, like the Atlanteans, had highly sophisticated technological civilization. It seems that the term Atlantis is nowadays used to signify all these various centers of technologically advanced people that existed in the very distant past. It's not only the one located in the Atlantic Ocean, there were others like Lemuria, also some call it Lumeria. There is another center probably in Malta and a few other places, but since we know very little about them, Atlantis has become kind of a collective term to address all of them. But the Atlanteans that I'm referring to were the ones that escaped the sunken continent that was located in the Atlantic Ocean, and after it sunk, the survivors relocated to this legendary Meru or Hyperborea that was located somewhere in the region of either Greenland or the Arctic region. The weather at that time in Meru was tropical and very pleasant. Later on, they were forced to abandon their abode and spread all over Europe and the full planet when the ice started invading their home. Although the parasites did not hesitate to use any type of nasty weapon against the humans, their main approach, their main goal was lowering the consciousness of the humans and thus making them weak and vulnerable. They actively wanted also to isolate them from the rest of the good entities in the universe that the humans were friends with. Cultural erosion was the prime weapon of the parasites. Changing the very genetic code of the glorious human race was another prime goal of the parasites. The monsters that were created in the underworld laboratories are mentioned in endless number of historic records. For example, this one is a Chinese book describing these hybrids or monsters of the underworld. The parasites were sending hybrids that were meant to pollute the pure human gene pool. The goal was to make the human race as dumb as possible and to deprive it of its natural psychic abilities. At this point of time, which was just couple of thousand years ago, probably some 10 to 7,000 years ago, the survivors started coming to the European continent and spreading their knowledge to the primitive tribes that were residing in this area at that time. This relocation is described in the book of Veles, which escaped the medieval cleanup of the real history and was found in wartime in Russia by an artist who at that time was a soldier. He kept the book with himself till the war was over. After that he copied it by hand, which took him 15 years, and when photography appeared, he even managed to take one single photo of one of the pages. Secret services were showing interest in the book, and as a result, after the death of the artist, the original is no longer available. However, the copies he made survived. Of course, within this Kalingier version of history, the Book of Veles is simply a collection of legends of some sort of fiction and imaginary events that the ancient people were dreaming about but never happened. However, the problem of the official history with this book is that the people of Russia themselves started printing endless copies of it, and millions of them considered this book to be their real history. They do not believe the lies they hear in school, and they swear this is our real history, it is not what we hear in school. These are just few of the numerous editions of the Book of Veles. People in Russia believe that actually their forefathers were the keepers of the Vedic knowledge, and the similarity between the language of the Book of Veles and the Sanskrit language, which is the language of the Vedic literature, is obvious. On the screen you see Sanskrit on the top and the Book of Veles below it. So apparently labeling everything as legend, myth and fantasy stopped working. That is why the Book of Veles is extremely uncomfortable to the official historians in Russia, and they are making all possible to slander it and proclaim it even as a forgery. And if you hear on what basis they have proclaimed it to be a forgery, you will understand how shallow their lies are. How can they say that the original was a forgery if it is missing altogether and cannot be examined? The most important reason for which they claim that it is a forgery is that the original is missing. However, for people who are capable of thinking, it is very clear that missing original means that there is no object to be examined in order to determine is it a forgery or not. So on what basis are they making this so-called conclusion if there is no actual object to examine? I would like to read for you what Wikipedia says about the Book of Veles. Professional linguists and historians, particularly the specialists in ancient Slavic, question many features of its language: vocabulary, spelling, phonetics, grammar. These features seem to indicate that the text was forged by someone with superficial knowledge of Slavic. Millions of people read and believe Wikipedia, and after reading such things, they will actually get the impression that some sort of real scholars have been doing a real study of this work and have made some sort of scientific conclusions on the basis of comparing it with other Slavic works in this language. The number of books, other Slavic books of that time, is a big fat zero. Not only that, indeed, according to this Kalingier version of history, we do not even know if the Slavic people had any writing at all at that time. This is still under question because of the absolute absence of any written record. And again, that is their own version of things. The Book of Velesovu is the only book that we have now that is written in this particular language. Since nothing at all is known about this language, how can we talk about any comparison at all? Compare it with what? The original of the Book of Velesovu is missing. The language that it is written in it is absolutely unknown. Hence, we have no basis of any comparison or any other source to make any conclusions at all about the legitimacy of this book, except the consistency of the story that it tells, the consistency with the other legends and books that are definitely genuine, like the Vedic literature. So what can we learn about our true history from the Book of Velesovu? It was a constant war. Although the survivors were still holding up, they were getting weaker and weaker after every few thousand years. They won an important war some 7,000 years ago with somebody who at that time resided where now China is. That is why when the modern calendar was introduced in Russia, before that people considered that there has been 7,000 years since the signing of the peace in the Star Temple. That victory must have been very important for the survivors, and that is why they have started a new calendar from that point on. Even until now, in the remote villages in Russia, where people still live in a very traditional way, many of them remember and think that now it is year 7,523 from the signing of the peace in the Star Temple. The Book of Velesovu also describes in detail how the survivors spread in smaller groups over the area of Europe and Asia. And although that story doesn't fit with the Skaliger version of history, it fits very well with the most recent DNA data about how the Caucasian people were gradually spreading over Europe and Asia. The survivors were still in touch with noble, wise beings from other planets who were regularly helping them to escape the continuous attacks of the parasites.
When you let go of fear, the truth will appear, so simple and clear. When you let go of fear, the truth will appear, so simple and clear. There's a feeling inside, so deep and so wide, so open and free. When love is revealed, all beings are healed, so natural.